Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. Gore and Kresnik are not on desk anymore. I'm here. I'm Fawn. Nice to meet you guys. You guys aren't aware. And on top of that, I'm not alone either. I'm here with Dolson. He's here with me too.
That's me. Yeah, I'm absolutely here with you, sitting alongside you. Set number one. Wow. I mean, honestly, it's a fun one, and honestly had a long set written all over it. It was long for some different reasons. Ends up being a 4-1 in favor of Virtus Pro, and what a set it was to watch, what a set it was to cast. I mean, it ends, honestly, for Erase and Cruncy the same way that MSI did for them. Right. Apparently, 3-1 score lines on Frog Isle against NIP are just going to work out for them every single time, and it was so much fun to watch. And standings-wise, I remember Virtus Pro were 8-9, I believe, technically going into that one. Now 9-9, positive map differential. Still, I think, the best fifth seed team that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that's what words can you spare when you see the power that VP has coming up against NIP, number one seed, not necessarily undefeated, but all powerful in this case in the Paladins Premier League, and then they just slap them around 4-1. Just the new changes itself, whether they be like through players, just how they're approaching these matchups, were so pivotal. 4-1 and then 4-0 on Frog Isle. The very last game was so strong.
And it was tough because, I mean, there were moments where NIP are so in control of the mids that were happening, that they have the numbers, and then it's Dosups and Fisheko that are the last two that are still alive. Dosups is able to stay alive long enough on that mid. They end up winning the game on the back end of it, so much fun to watch. And then if you think back to those standings, they were close enough that NIP will still be on top after this week, but Navi, are just that much closer to unseating them. I believe they're 2 wins behind, 1 loss worse. But I don't want to say the elephant. It's the big thing you have to look at here with Navi is that Ninu is now their player. Creatives has stepped down from the roster. And I think that Ninu is a phenomenal player. I think top to bottom, mechanically wise, as a Paladins player, Ninu is incredible. I can't think of too many better people that you would have to fill Creative's role. The down step for Navi is going to be that immediate connection between Creatives and somebody like Phoenix. I mean, the dynamic that we saw with Navi was, we'll send Phoenix out kind of on these aggressive pushes, these off-tank pushes, and Creatives is right behind him, knows exactly when to go, top to bottom, every single time. Ninu is familiar, of course, with how to play the game, so some of that stuff will come as second nature to him. But the individual tendencies, I think, is when you're going to kind of see a little bit of a drop-off, that immediate connection between the two. But again, I think mechanically wise, Ninu is absolutely right up there. I think he can play mechanically on a very similar level to what Creatives brings.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And the thing is that one thing it is that I don't know if people would have known or would have noticed is that Ninu has been scrimming with Navi for a while. Yeah. They aren't completely new to him. He's not just a force it is that hasn't been reckoned with as well, originally being on Sour Team and now making his way to Navi. Has been really, really strong, been holding together, not necessarily holding together the team, but all of them have been so pivotal. They are veterans. It's nothing to underestimate. You see right there with the double kill, both of them flipping back and forth between Creatives and Ninu as well, just showing off how the two of them are forces to be reckoned with. Navi definitely is not out of the loop now. It might hurt him for a couple weeks, a few upcoming weeks, but it's not something that you should just scoff at if you hear that Creatives.
I mean, if it weren't for the names at the bottom, I would think that it was one player or the other. Right. I mean, there's not playstyle difference, the ability to hit shots. I mean, again, mechanically on a basic level, these two players are at a very similar spot. It's that immediate game knowledge connection where things might change. And, it's not a big enough change. There were a few weeks ago when Mutu wasn't around and they had Mike fill in. I mean, it's nothing like that. This is still as good of a now first-string player for Navi as you can find. And you're right. I mean, having the scrimming kind of with them over the course of a few weeks, having all of that certainly helps them here. I imagine he'll be up to speed. I imagine he'll feel very comfortable right off the bat, and it's going to be fun to watch because, I mean, this is a Navi team that plays very comfortably. They're a controlling team. I mean, it's kind of a meme at this point, but you stick lazy on the point, you send Phoenix and somebody behind them on a flanking run, and it all pays off. So Ninu is definitely the guy to look at over on the Navi side. I imagine he'll play just fine today. Maybe some communication hiccups, but still a lot of fun to watch.
Of course, their opponent is on the opposite side, Kanga. They are a very strong team as well. They're steadily getting back into the grind of things, trying to make their spot known in this current PPL. They are full of chock full of good players. They have people like Evil Lighter. They have that you normally stick him on Blaster. You have so many powerful players on Kanga's side as well. And even though they aren't ranked super high in terms of standings, that doesn't mean that you should just completely dismiss them. Chronix is also another player that always comes to mind every time I think of Kanga.
Yeah, and he'll have his hands full today, especially going up against Mutu on the opposite side. They kind of fulfill the same role as one another. I mean, Kanga as a whole, I mean, it's kind of tough to put a finger on these guys because in split number 1, I mean, they're in that kind of 5th, 6th, middle-of-the-road spot, but Chronix is about as consistent as you can find. Honestly, not too dissimilar to like an Invocal on the Renegades, where, you know, doesn't always have those consistent 3 KDA games, but you don't often see like bad games from Chronix. I mean, he'll have off games, but he's about as tried and true as you can get. I mean, even flexing onto stuff like this, you know, you throw him on the Ruckus, he'll snag you a triple kill. Why not? But I mean, I look at Kanga as a whole in that their kind of big mantra in split number 1 was always learn, always improve, and it still is. And we were able to sit down with a few of them. We'll get to hear that tomorrow. But overwhelmingly, I think they're feeling confident, but it hasn't been as automatic necessarily as it was in the past. I think this is a good Na'Vi to go up against, slightly off with Ninu going in. So, I mean, if you're going to beat Na'Vi, this is the week for Kanga to do it. Gera, of course, is going to have a big role in that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you can't talk about all the other roles in the game without first looking at the support, the backbone of really any team, and you see him pulling off a double kill here. Gera, now you see the stats on the left side. Average healing is 132,000, which that's really impressive to be an average healing. That doesn't, obviously, that will vary based off of game to game, but in overall grand scheme of things, Gera has a very, very strong support. He knows his positioning. He knows how his team plays. He wants to maximize on that, and I really can't see Kanga being anywhere without him.
No, I mean, he fills a very similar role to someone like Vex. You just saw for Virtus Pro, in that it's not just hang back. It's not just throw a few gourds as Damba or, you know, throw down some Pyre Strikes if you're Furia for a little bit of extra healing, but the offensive presence, God, what was it for Vex? There was one game where he was on Furia, and he was like, it was the Jag Falls they lost, and he was still like 10-5-20 or something. It's the offensive presence. Gera is an absolute veteran of this league, so you know, the shot calling, the offensive threat from a healer, all certainly there for him. And just the same as Chronix, he'll have a big role today.
Yeah, I agree. The map bans did come through. Shadow Desert, Splitstone, Frog Isle, and Stone Keep are all gone off the board. Won't be seeing any of them this set. I'm really curious to see how both of these teams are really going to clash in either of the maps it is that they choose. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of Jag Falls end up being picked first. Sometimes you'll see just a few other maps. It really just depends on what it is that people actually decide to know. But the maps are coming in.
Well, I'm sad to not see Frog Isle. Not surprising to see Brightmarsh here. I actually think I feel okay if I'm Na'Vi going here to Brightmarsh. A little less okay if I'm Kanga. I mean, the overwhelming kind of idea is that, you know, map picks across the league, you know, maybe one team is a little bit more practiced, you know, XYZ, whatever it may be. Spunky, you know, weekend at Bernie's down here in the in the draft booth. Somebody might be controlling his hands on the keyboard. We can't quite see here. I haven't seen him move in quite a minute. Side note.
Could be a dummy.
Side note from the draft. He's got sticks attached to his hands, and they're smacking on the keyboard. Side note, the Spunky Who Is That Pro silhouette was the most obvious one that I've ever seen. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
Spunky Watch 2K19 comes to a close. He is there, but he does have some shades on. Hopefully as bright as their performance today. But Brightmarsh-wise, I think this is a map, you know, despite every team certainly being practiced on it, this is a map that Na'Vi are very comfortable on across the board. It caters to their playstyle very well, sort of lots of small spaces to control. Lazy will certainly excel at that. And then lots of areas for Phoenix and now Ninu to make their aggression, usually on that apartment side, kind of kitty corner to where the point is. Maeve early on here. I think that's good. Get something. I'm assuming that'll go to Ninu, depending on the rest of their drafts. Mutu can certainly play the Maeve, but getting Ninu on something he's comfortable with, I think, as we jump back into the LAN environment, so good there for them. And then on the opposite side, getting Kanga something they can feel nice and comfortable on that front line. Rhino, so good at the con. A lot to counteract. Also, don't give con to Phoenix. I think that's a rule people have started to learn. And then Inara, just for some good tried and true point fighting again. Don't give Inara to Lazy. Right. So two good picks there from Kanga.
I agree. They also banned the Willow. They get rid of the Makoa, the Atlas, Torvald, but the Willow ban is what stands out to me the most, which I do enjoy that. I mean, it is Bright Marsh. You do see a lot of blaster characters. You see people like Drogos. You see people like Willow being able to tear it up in those apartments. So the ban itself makes sense. Na'Vi losing a little bit of their bank time to try and figure out what it is they might try and go for. They are hovering the Genos, though, for Gera to be able to pick. Maeve is there as well. They might try and okay, there's the counter.
I like this.
Try and counter. Yeah, I do too, actually. I do like being able to not only counter the con, but that big game damage is going to mean a lot against both Inara and Con if Cassie's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I think that Na'Vi here, they realize Kanga have already, picked off. In all reality, if Con and Inara were still available, Na'Vi would have, I think, swept those up immediately. I mean, such a good champion for Phoenix, such a good champion for Lazy, and then two good, very controlling champions here on this map. So now it's what you pair with that. Oh. I think that triple tank could have some merit here. You ban out the Willow because that dead zone is very threatening to how Grover wants to play, how he wants to heal. Tyra still around is probably what they would need to kind of wrap up a triple DPS composition here, if that's the route they choose to go. Certainly has some merit here on Bright Marsh. With Cassie on the opposite side, though, those big, healthy health bars suddenly don't have quite the same duration just because of how big game works. I still do think it has some merit. I think a Tyra might wrap that up nicely there for Kanga. We'll have to wait and see for what Na'Vi picked, though.
I agree with that as well. The adorable penguin giving the energy to everyone on Na'Vi's side. I did too.
He has a name. I forgot what it is.
I think he...
But he has certainly named the penguin.
I don't remember. Yeah, regardless, the penguin is very, very staring into the soul right now, making sure that the rest
it's a traded energy.
Yeah,
he looks at it, it looks back at him, and they both build one another up. For Na'Vi here, though, with the front lines being the way they are, and this is good from Kanga, because if you notice the Torvald, Atlas, Con are banned out. Kanga get Con and Nara. That forces Na'Vi now either to go Ashe Fernando or now potentially Ashe Ruckus, just because of the frontliner pool. They are going to go Ashe Ruckus, so Ashe, nothing, no eyebrows being raised there. Ruckus is kind of where this hinges. I mean, he's kind of a... He has some mobility in the dashing, of course, but with what Kanga are looking to do, grouping up, maybe running some people on Na'Vi down, Ruckus I think can work. But that's kind of where this Na'Vi composition hinges for me. The Maeve, Cassie, Genos, I think pretty automatic. If Lex on the opposite side, I don't remember quite who flexes where. Maybe Evil Eye is the one who ends up on the Lex. Maybe Stick Chronix on the Con. We'll have to see the way they play that. If he does half as well as Bittner did in Bright Marsh this game around, I think it'll be just fine for Kanga. Yeah. Being able to execute the Maeve, get rid of the Cassie very quickly. And that's kind of how this frontline composition will roll. So a lot of fun here from Kanga right off the bat. I do like their draft. I don't dislike either draft, really. The Ruckus, kind of hinges for me. I think it has some merit here. A good Hexafire can turn a fight around. But Kanga kind of forced them into that with the way they drafted and the way they banned.
I mean, at the same time, there was a good awareness from them to be able to lock Barrick, be able to lock that Inara, lock that Con, because now who are your options as well? You have Ashe, you have the Ruckus open. Clearly, they both decided to lock them in response on Navi's side. But like I said, I do like it. They have the Cassie. They opt that they can feel like they could go for a Ruckus and try and make sure that they counter Con and a few other of the frontliners. But both teams are ready to go for game one. Kanga versus Na'Vi. Take it away, beautiful casters.
Well, thank you so much, Fawn, as we come down here. Myself and Kresnik going to be casting this one for you. And this one is going to be interesting. I mean, Kanga have a lot of interesting things to show us as they go with their draft of the triple tank and the Lex. But Na'Vi have to deal with the now missing creatives, Ninu coming in for them. This is going to be a heat check for both of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Ninu is going to perform well. I mean, I think he performed pretty well when he was here with NIP. Synergy's going to take a hit right away, which is why I think Na'Vi maybe didn't opt for the triple DPS, because I feel like that does take a lot of moving together, positioning right. Communication's really important for a comp like that.
And that's one of the things they were even saying in the last few weeks, the last few times we talked to them, that just sometimes the communication falls off and it wasn't even working. even before this, so not going to be tempting the fates this time around. Mutu on that Mave. Ninu coming into this one. Debut PPL with Na'Vi, I should say, on the Cassie. He did play earlier this split with NIP.
Yeah, and I thought he played pretty well then, but this is his first full-time debut, I guess. Actually, look at this death ball from Kanga, actually, shoving on this side. They want to find a pick, and Na'Vi smartly trying to disengage, but Ninu is caught out with Spunky. 2 quick ones for Kanga.
I mean, just a good wall to be able to line them up, and now they're looking at the 2 tanks that are left standing. Ash Ruck is having a bit of a rough time here. Fane is going to get burned down, and Lazy just trying to do, well, the thing he normally does on Nara, but unable to do so here. Gets killed off, and that is a full wipe there from Na'Vi. Kanga in complete control of this objective, and they're not going to let Mutu through easily either.
I think Kanga ended up with a good end to the draft, but I liked how Na'Vi adapted because Kanga still had a spot open, right? And if they went for full point control, good trade by Mutu there onto Bully, and actually good wrestler from the left to the right side there, coming from under to touch the point. 2 quick ones to Na'Vi. 3.
Good reclaim, trying to get down, burn down Joel's if they can, just to try and get one of these pesky point tanks out of there. And they're going to be able to do so, but they lose Lazy in the process. They take it back, they stall it at 90%, and now they're going to be the ones going for the zone. And that's what's interesting enough. Muchu was back here fighting with Lex. That was on Kanga's side of the map. And so now they're going for the dismounts, and a good chunk of damage to poke them out.
Yeah, the mobility from a flank, being able to get back there and kind of pause the fight in that area is really strong. It's one of the reasons why Maeve is so powerful, because she has so much just discrete survivability, immediate, and the mobility lets her play in places no one else really will. Phanex on Ruck is topping the damage charts. A lot of damage to pour in. Generally against a Grover, your stats are going to be a little stacked, and Whirlwind might stack the healing stats too, but this Hexifier is could find a couple kills.
I mean, it's doing a lot of damage. It's setting them up, but it's not able to find anything. Muchu goes down. Phanex goes down instead, and so Kanga are definitely able to turn that one right on its head. Through time and space going to burn through, and it's going to maybe get a little bit of zoning, but it's not going to save anyone or kill anyone. Evil Eye gets rid of Ninu. And the biggest thing out of all of this for me is to pick up on what you said. I mean, you have triple tank, you've got Grover. This is a very early game, we should win everything composition from Kanga.
Yeah.
And they didn't get the point. So does this hurt them the longer the game goes?
I would think so. The Cauterize and Wrecker are really going to turn off their composition. And Na'Vi, wow, great flank, or at least great return to the fight from Ninu. I noticed Evil Eye looked a little uncomfortable on the Lex there. Because normally Chronix would be playing that. He would be playing that hit scan roll, but he's on the con. I guess they feel like he's the more flexible one they want to put there. And that might hurt Kanga the more this game goes on, because it's a lot of pressure on Evil Eye to put out that damage.
Been able to get a few good shots, a few good kills in, but he's looking out to potentially turn this around. His performance is going to hinge on Kanga's success. Right now, though, Ninu is the one who is just utilizing this mid game, gets locked down, does get killed off by Rhino there as they finally close him out. And he's probably their #1 target. I mean, if you pick on him, you were talking about communication being an issue. He's going to be the biggest one and easiest target as they do burn through Mutu and Phanex as well. They're just looking for the defense right here. As Kanga do get aggressive, but not as aggressive, I think, as they could warrant.
Yeah, with the triple tank, they could get forward in zone, but people being alive makes it really hard, because they could get isolated and picked off. You're right, though. Ninu is definitely the priority target for them, not just because of communication, but because big game Cassie does a lot of damage.
Especially to triple tanks.
Yeah, exactly. They're playing triple tank. You really got to take care of that Cassie first, and you'll see what happens when you ignore him. Great flank onto Gera to take him out, and now they're completely surrounded by Navi's composition.
Ooh, a nice through time and space is going to be able to clip too. The question is if they can follow up on him. They back out of the fight. So far, these tanks are getting that out of combat healing. They were lucky enough that Grover wasn't around, so they still get a pick on the Evil Eye. Ninu gets to stay out of combat and keep himself going, but they didn't get to follow up the way they wanted to, so there's still some tanks to burn through right here. 4 seconds left on the clock to go into overtime, and that's going to be exactly what they're looking to do. Mutu trying to just find a kill right here onto the Grover. One more daggers would do it, but he wasn't able to find the set.
The damage reduction on that Blossom really kept him alive through that, so now Na'Vi are going to have to back up. Unless Spunky throws himself in the cart, they're not going to be able to extend this fight. Great defense from Kanga, I think good priority, good use of his cooldowns by Gera. He was under a lot of pressure, still managed to make it out. I think he was kind of the pioneer, too, of that damage reduction loadout on Grover. Yeah. People were kind of messing with it, but then in scrims, I think he was the first one to be like, yeah, I'll put 5 points in that. Yeah, not dying seems really cool. And Ninu, though, wants him to die, takes him out in this fight. Good, I think so far, good play by him. Against triple tank, it is a lot of pressure onto him, and I think he's been hitting the shots he needs to.
All I can think is that Paladins Tinder would be that kind of specific. I'll put 5 points into that. That's how you show you like something. Either way,
okay,
that one was a stretch,
that was
so I'll
was
hold that L. But the biggest thing coming down, and you saw it in the replays there for me, was Ninu. I mean, he's 7-4-4. He's having a great game on Cassie as far as I'm concerned. And 2 times, you called it out, great flanks from him. And I think that's kind of what we've been seeing. He hasn't been able to find quite head-to-head match that he's been wanting. But anytime he goes unnoticed, he's been slipping through, and even this damage on the Joels has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, he has pretty high deaths, but he's also getting focused really hard. Overpower looks like it did actually connect, but Ash ults back onto the map. Chronic's not able to find that confirm, and now Na'Vi has great positioning all around Kanga.
That's going to be 2 clean kills right there. Chronix is in an unfortunate position between Maeve, Ash, and, well, the rest of his team. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to escape the clutches of Ninu as he finds a double kill, a triple kill here for the Cassie, making his debut big and making sure that his team maintains control of this objective. Burning through. He has a 5-streak, 15 streak there for Spunky as they get aggressive and they go for the zone. Dismounts galore. Kanga shouldn't be able to touch.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way, unless they really just ignore this barrack, but they already have their Ash controlling tree. There's no way they're going to be able to get in. Kanga, they want to find if they want to turn this into aggressive zone quick while they're still forward for the zone, but Na'Vi disengaged. Not fast enough, though. Lazy goes down first while Lily fights in the apartments.
And now they're just... And I don't want to call it complete control. Phoenix is a little slippery on his health pool, but they've been picking on exactly what they need to. Living through that, just barely going down there. Phoenix tried to cause a lot of trouble, but it's going to be Evil Eye with the double kill this time, starting off the defense the way Kanga would like, and this time getting as aggressive as well as I would have expected them to last round. Moving up, kind of pushing the line of scrimmage past the mid-fight and trying to keep this payload docked inside the point more than anything.
I can go on a little bit of a tangent here because I just thought about this. I don't think I mentioned it before. One of the reasons why fights always turn so quickly after a mid-fight is because teams are aggressively zoning and they're depending on the mid-fight kind of being that crux, right? Yeah. But once that's gone, once they don't have to touch the objective, now they're just objectively in a bad position, and Phoenix might be in a bad position too, barely living through that Hexafire, and kills traded back and forth though. We're going back to a 3-3 fight.
We haven't really gotten to see a Hexafire, I want to say, successful so far this game. Like, it's been there, and it's been doing damage, but I wouldn't call any of them as what you would expect from Phoenix so far. But it's still been keeping them afloat, and the payload still keeps moving, so they don't tend to care. They have a Nara right where they want her as well. She is not moving, and there's going to be the stagger. 12 seconds before she respawns. So the other 4 you can see lined up on the balcony just outside their base as we're coming around the last corner, opening up into the courtyard.
Also notice that Joel's is on Varric too instead of the Inara. This is the second time we've seen the off-tank playing Inara today. Seems like it's going to be a trend that might keep going. Teams think that Inara is better kind of in that flank role to catch out some over-aggression. Ninu getting some poke here in mid. Looks like Na'Vi want to engage, though. Great assert dominance on the right side by Lazy to get 2.
He's going to be able to find him, and they're looking for the cleanup, but a couple of missed bolts there from Ninu means they're going to slip out from under his clutches. They still find some kills. That's going to be 3 on board here for Na'Vi. So they're looking to close it out. 1-1 and Nara stand in their way of converting this point, and they're going to be able to burn down 1. They trade out Phoenix for that, but they're going to keep it rolling. They have Barrick back once again. The pains of triple tank. You need to burn through him fast, but they're looking to roll this through it. There's just too much damage to deal with.
And this is one of the best defensive points for triple tank, so losing that is not what you want your comp to be doing. This is constantly cycling tanks. It's supposed to be what you do good there. But still, Na'Vi, fantastic focus fire, finding the important targets. Kang also don't want to use their ultimates, so they're not able to hold that. Now they're stuck in another mid-fight where they have the ult advantage, but they're getting to late game. The items are getting against them.
I'm going to have to figure out a good name for it other than this, but it's the old VP conundrum. We want to hold on to our ults until we need them, but consequently we don't use our ults when we don't think we need them 100%. So you hold on to them maybe too long, and you end up in an awkward position. But they have the Dome Shield, they have Overpower, they have the Law coming into this. They'll execute, and about to have the Seismic Crash. But like you said, I mean, a couple of Resilience is coming online. Cauterize is good here. Itemization is good for Na'Vi.
Yeah, it's like a JRPG, right? Where you get to the final boss and you're like, I have 300 elixirs. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. But not enough elixirs are going to keep Chronix alive for Mutu's flank here on the side. They found Phoenix, though, so Kanga have the early advantage in this fight.
They tried it through time and space, but it's not going to be able to connect with anything. Mutu is just hanging around in the back line right now. Keeping it slow pace as they take down Ninu. They get aggressive. And so Mutu's just kind of dancing around, skirting over the edge, is looking for the support once again. But so far, he has been unsuccessful this round in finding that kill. And much on the opposite side, they maintain their ults. Hexafire is about to come back up, and they're going to be able to touch another point. They're going to be trying to find this, but it's just going to be all damage all day here. Right now, Kanga still in control.
that Kanga needs to find their focus fire. They had 2 tanks coming in, but they shot both of them. Only one ended up dying. Let Phoenix get the Hexafire off. So quick turn by Na'Vi on the back of Kanga. Not shooting the same targets. They just could not find what they wanted to, and now Na'Vi are going to get in a really aggressive zone.
I mean, that was perfect from Na'Vi as well. I mean, they just came in 4 different doors essentially at the same time. Kanga didn't know where to look, and even though they maintained 1 of their 5 ults throughout that fight, it's not necessarily the one. They have the law up for Lex. It's going to be 2 kills. Ninu, Mutu putting their names back on the board. A 3rd one there, a 2nd one, I guess, for Ninu as they clean up 2 and 2, and they keep it perfectly the way they want to. They never lose their heads. They grab themselves a 4th point, and that was a very solid, clean game from Na'Vi.
Yeah, if Na'Vi's going to keep looking that good today, I think this could be dire for Kanga. They've been taking maps from other teams coming up this week, but this Na'Vi doesn't even look like Creatives is gone, honestly.
Yep.
I think Ninu was doing exactly what he needed to. Their coordination was still there. Great focus fire. I'm excited to see the rest of the set already.
And this was the question coming into it, right? It was just Ninu is a stellar player. The only thing they're really going to be kind of missing in terms of the swap is how much team synergy they have. And the other question was, can Kanga still hold up to that? I mean, even if you're playing with 4 out of 5 members of Na'Vi, they're incredibly solid. So far, the results are leaning maybe towards the answer of no, but we'll have to see how the set continues going. It's 1-0 right now for Na'Vi. We'll get back to game number 2 right after this.
iNap, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back to the PPL, guys. The first match is all said and done. Na'Vi currently taking it over Kanga 1-0. They both did extremely well, but Na'Vi was just a little bit better.
Did they, though? Did they both do extremely well?
Trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, Dave.
No, they did. Kanga did have a fight in that one. Na'Vi, though, I mean, what a starting game there for Ninu. I mean, Mutu doing his best as well. I mean, matching Ninu kind of across the board. I mean, the triple tank has its merits when you're able to kind of outlast the damage that's being done by the opposite side, and you can kind of weather that storm. You know, you kind of throw up the shield, block a lot of the damage, you're controlling the point the entire time, and that was just not happening for the Kanga side of things. I mean, the Ruckus is kind of where that hinged, and then I immediately went into game and said, oh wait, it's Phoenix on Ruckus, who is very good on that champion. I mean, everyone on Natus Vincere really starting to fire on all cylinders here. I mean, 100%. Even with less, I mean, the healing numbers in this case, I think, are a little deceiving because, you know, Gera had 3 big frontliners to heal up the entire game, especially if they're all fighting around him. And you know, Spunky was just kind of throwing out some healing here and there, as you do on Janos. 4-1 and 25 for him. Brilliant performance from, I'm assuming, Spunky. We still haven't confirmed that it's actually him who's playing and not somebody else.
In his seat, like he's just like actually like his hands are like being all controlled by strings.
It's like a puppet. His hands are attached to the guy who's next to him, and whenever they move their hands, Spunky moves his hands.
There we go. And speaking of move, the movement and the positioning on Ninu, an extremely good player, and also his first debut game on a PPL team this phase, and you see how often it was he was popping off. The big game damage, the Cassie was such a pivotal role in the triple front line, and that's a little bit of where triple front line falls off. You have to be able to sort of snowball that early game later on into the game, but if you have an overwhelming team like this with both Ruckus, you have Ash, Maeve, Genos, Cassie, all of these guys are going to be able to run you down pretty effectively, and you'll see it right there. Triple kill, no issue, no problem.
Yeah, apparently there's not going to be any team synergy drop off here. I mean,
Right.
and that was my big thing, is that, you know, even if there are small moments in that game, if, you know, internally they might say, well, we should have done this here, whatever it may be. I mean, that is a good piece of evidence to attach to my point that Ninu is an incredible player, and only team chemistry is where there's going to be some room to kind of build. I mean, Creative's an incredible player as well. I mean, maybe some difference in play styles. But as far as not having a big drop-off from one player to the next, I can't hype up Ninu enough. I think he's a great addition to this team, given their circumstances.
I agree. The second map, Game 2, is going to be Serpent Beach. Now, they get rid of the Torval once again, a ban you would typically suspect to see. Serpent Beach as well, getting rid of Eevee. Don't want to allow her to be able to control the point fight. Well, not really the point fight that happens. The two fights that can break out on either side of the point. You have the elevated high ground, the one that's like right behind the point, depending on what side it is that you're on. You can control that bridge up there, but you also have that little, like, not necessarily side room, but a more enclosed area where both flanks normally just meet and close each other in, fight to the death, and then only one comes out on top. So getting rid of Eevee, the momentum she's going to be able to carry into this game, especially on Serpent Beach, is going to be a little bit too much. And
I also look at, you know, vertical mobility is so important on this map. I mean, the fight after the mid-fight, the defending team just gets automatic high ground. They spawn out, walk up a short set of stairs, and immediately are firing down upon the pushing team, whereas the pushing team has to kind of wrap around, walk up some stairs, and hope that you don't die in the meantime. So getting rid of the Eevee is important in that regard. But also for Evil Eye, I mean, he's shown that he is a very, very good, you know, blaster flex player on a certain pool of champions. Maeve is certainly one that he can play, something that Chronix can play as well. But, you know, it's the Drogos, the Bomb King, the Eevee. That's kind of Evil Eye's wheelhouse. You expect great games from him when he's on those champions. So, you know, getting rid of the Eevee is good for kind of limiting some of the vertical mobility. Of course, that means Maeve is able to get picked up, but also forcing Evil Eye into something that's not kind of, it's like the triangle of three champions, I think, that you're kind of scared of when Evil Eye plays. And, you know, Maeve is kind of in that conversation. I don't think it's quite as automatic for him. Certainly can play it. I imagine he will play it very well here. But flipping the script on Na'Vi was some early frontline priority.
Yeah, Barrick Ash being able to control that point and the side ground is going to be a lot for them, but they opt to go for the Willow. I would imagine that maybe they might give Willow to Evil Eye.
That'll be Evil Eye.
Yeah, that would definitely be Evil Eye because he's normally known for his blaster play. Genos also being locked in to give themselves, both of these guys, some luminary buffs. Maeve, Willow is going to be really, really powerful depending on who they go for. In terms of frontline will be strong as well, but the Furia, now here's what's interesting. I've said it before, but normally when Furia gets busted out, they normally try and run triple DPS. In this case, it's not the case. But the question is are they going to try and opt to go for a triple frontline in this case? I have no idea.
They could.
Normally I see Furia because of the inflaming that she can provide.
I mean, you could. This is in a weird way kind of a reverse of what Na'Vi did in the last game, where Na'Vi, you know, picked damage, healer, and on the opposite side, bans very similar last time as well. 3 frontliners banned out. Kanga went frontline, you know, healer last time around. Changes up though because they went Strix instead of another frontliner. So that's where things differentiate. Certainly still in their wheelhouse. Kanga will have to go their frontliners here. So I imagine a traditional draft from here on out for Na'Vi. Strix though, on Serpent Beach, that's where this gets a little bit interesting. I definitely think he has his merits. Very good at controlling the high ground. Once he has it, they're going to answer back with a Kinessa. Not a map that I constantly think about sniper duels on. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Look out in the mid-fight, that area behind Waterfall. The high ground on the mid-fight is what these two champions will look to contest with one another. Might even hang back in their base a little bit to try to poke one another out before even engaging in that mid-fight. The high ground immediately from your base.
I will fight to protect
the teleporter for Kinessa, I think, is where this gets a little bit interesting. Not only triple DPS, but you get Maeve, Willow, Kinessa for them. The mobility that Kanga have right now, aside from really a Nara, is something Na'Vi are going to have to deal with. I mean, Strix is good at kind of hitting those plug shots. He's going to get dove by Maeve. He's going to get dove by Fae Flighting Willow, all the while Kinessa is plugging away shots. So you need something here that can kind of counteract some of the mobility that they bring. with the blasters that they have off the board. Maybe something a little bit more direct damage here for Na'Vi. But an interesting draft from Kanga. They're definitely not straying, or they are straying away from the beaten path.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give myself 0.0001% credit in terms of the triple DPS. It's got the team swapped up. But once again, I also agree with the pick as well for the Leon, being able to bust down Willow, Maeve.
Yep.
Also a presence that Knessa has to be terrified of. Really, you're going to see Strix and Knessa having these sniper battles, but Leon being there adds an extra layer of stuff she has to be concerned about. That presence going to hit a lot, especially on Willow and Maeve, where they're going to be far away, higher up verticality in this case.
There's a lot for them to deal with on the Na'Vi side of things. If Leon, between Ninu and Mutu, I'm actually not sure who's more comfortable on one or the other, so we'll have to see that. I'm not sure. I mean, it really comes down to if they're able to plug away at the Maeve and the Willow, because the Knessa adds such a dynamic here where you're trying to duel out with this sniper. In the meantime, these flankers are going to be wreaking havoc as well. So they do have a good draft on the Na'Vi side. Very contingent, though, on dealing with the mobility of Kanga.
Let's throw it down to the casters. Get right into game 2.
Well, I have no idea what world we are living on right now. I mean, Strix on Serpent Beach already kind of has me perplexed. The only sniper we used to see here ever was Knessa. And in an odd turn of events, not only do we get to see Strix, we get both, which I don't know if I've ever seen happen on this map.
Yeah, sniper duels on Serpent Beach, not really something you really fall back on. And I think Na'Vi was honestly planning for this from the start. I mean, just looking at the draft, right? They banned Eevee. And that's not too crazy on this map, but then they followed it up with, I guess, an relatively early Strix. I mean, it was like 4th pick, but it was earlier than you'd expect a sniper pick to be on a map like Serpent Beach.
You know, when you have literally no priority to pick him, they do grab him over the Leon even, and so he's going to be coming through. I expect to see a lot out of this. It's going to be Mutu piloting the scope this time around for this team. Missed that first shot, and if we're marking on this, his accuracy so far 50-50. Chronix, though. First blood on the Knessa. A little bit more damage that can come out of her, and a lot more maneuverability.
Yeah, that's the biggest benefit of Knessa here. I mean, that vertical mobility, also the ability to rotate faster. I mean, Chronix could go from there over to the dial side at any moment if he wants to, or straight to the high ground for his team. Mutu is thinking about it. letting him live his life. Good flare at a distance to poke out that Maeve. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. Mutu is holding the bridge. I don't think there was a tactical benefit to that. We'll let it sit now. Flank duel here on the side with Leon trying to hold that down, but again, just really back and forth. They're just both relying on their snipers.
I've never seen a depressor mind make someone question all of their life decisions before, but I think we just got that one here. But it's 45% for Na'Vi up against the 39 now, rising, matching, and passing from Kanga as they get up to 48%. They're trying to figure out where to go. Evil Eye looking to get aggressive. Does get the kill onto Mutu and is setting it up, but that's going to be too low front lines. The aggression's going to be coming out. Ninu going to be able to get a double kill. Phoenix going to be able to get aggressive with him, and they lock down 3 members of Kanga very quickly and move themselves right back onto the point.
Such a low point capping game so far, but I think that's just how it's going to be against double sniper when the point is kind of free for them to shoot. Great rotation though there by Ninu, I think, with the rest of Na'Vi to catch everybody else on Kanga, when they went to rotate into the dial side. So good by them. And the inflame now means that they really can't get in. They didn't look like they could, but not able to get in through that damage boost from the inflame. Now Ninu pushing on the right side here. Good, I think, overall control by Na'Vi. Chronix didn't try to slow them down, but I don't think the Headhunter's going to find anything.
I mean, they're trying their best, and it's going to be 2 kills, so he does find at least a little bit, but also ends up finding his grave as Mutu plugs him with another sniper shot. Ninu using that range as well to make sure they keep knocking him down. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, looking at the slash lines, the only person really positive on Na'Vi is Ninu at 4-1. But admittedly, the only person really positive on Kanga is Chronix at 3-1, so they're both having very similar performances from their team drafts.
Yeah, and all they really have to do is make room for their snipers to force them into the sight lines they're trying to take. Lazy trying to force the Zanara straight into the sight line. Dome shield means he's going to have to back up into Mutu's face. Look where he's pinned. Nowhere else he can go. That's the power of a sniper on these open maps.
It's just, where do you want to fight? You can fight in the Dome shield, you can fight under Strix's scope. You don't really get any worse of a choice. That's the literal rock and hard place that you can see in Paladins right now. The aggression's coming down. down. Phoenix gets nice and aggressive, locks him in the base. Ninu at 5-1 currently. And this payload's looking to walk on in. Inara going to be able to contest for a little bit. Joel's doing his best, but with only a minute left on the clock, they need a little bit more pressure than just the Inara. They're knocking on the door. That wall can only stay up for so long, and it's still moving forward. Another touch coming down from Evil Eye on the Maeve, but it's not going to be enough. That was systematic 4 kills from Na'Vi, and they convert that push into a 2-0.
Great retake by Na'Vi. Nino has to be laughing at that body block I was laughing at. Phoenix stood under Chronix, and Chronix was just bouncing on his head, trying to get into the spawn. Could not make it in, but good play. This was the rotation by Ninu to catch out everybody trying to catch out Lazy, so just really great timing from him. Again, they seem like they're together. We talked about how synergy might be the biggest difference, but that immediate snap push from him, great headshot to that Maeve ragdoll bouncing a little bit, but still, Ninu, he's already looking like a solid member of this team.
And, you know, it's one of the things we kind of casually have mentioned, and it's been dropped, but Ninu, they've been playing with him. It's not, you know, this isn't the first set they had. The glorious thing about him as a quote-unquote sub now coming into the main roster is that he lives in Europe. And so when Na'Vi are at home and they're like, oof, we need someone to fill in, well, they had a guy. This time around, though, that Oppressor Mine not going to make Ninu contemplate his life. He'll burn that down. Joel's going for the seismic crash to try and start things up. Does stun out Lazy, but ultimately ends up taking most of his life in response.
Bit of a disconnect there in the ultimates, too. They wanted to do the seismic crash through time and space combo, but they didn't wait for the cooldown from Barracks, so they couldn't find anything. Inflame coming in to try to destroy the pressure from this Midnight. Very aggressive from Spunky, finding Rhino, too. Lazy's going to go down quick, though, so it's trades back and forth here.
I mean, back and forth, but it's 39 overall to 3 here in favor of Kanga. They're going to be sitting up at 50%. Comeback mechanic working its magic for them, as Mutu is able to get a good, clean kill, but Joel's is still just doing the Inara thing, standing on the objective uncontested. Now with Ninu gone, they lose a lot of their pressure, a lot of their damage, and so this Inara is going to be able to move right back in. This is Kanga's point to lose.
Yeah, Na'Vi has to do something about Chronix. He's in such a good position here to fight Lazy. Not actually shooting Lazy, though, shooting up top instead, but that quick 2160 steady aim boosted headshot is going to make it really hard for him. And actually, Phoenix getting so aggressive to try to deal with it, but Headhunter to counter it. Lazy has to disengage, and Kanga still have point control.
Causing him some trouble. Joel's is incredibly low, does get taken down there by Phoenix, and so that opens up the door. 99% here for Kanga, but right now, Na'Vi in control and trying to match that and, well, surpass it if they can. There's going to be Rhino. 61% on the Fae Flight. Doesn't have anything really game-changing in their pocket here for Kanga. They're just going to have to rely on the play, but they weren't expecting the flank from the Leon. That's going to be an enlightenment to the face. Chronix is taken off, and Na'Vi did exactly what they needed to. They zone it out, and they find themselves up 3-0.
Love that play by Ninu. What a deep flank to sync up with Fae. They had to kill Chronix. I mean, he was the crux for that defense. The Willow, not really able to find the angles. Rhino can't find them because of the pressure from Mutu on that Strix. He can't go the places he wants to. Fae Flight, very crippled in what it can do. It just can't take room. It can't peek out into the open. It has to play behind all these buildings.
And so far, I mean, they've been playing this phenomenally. Again, not something I often expect to see is the Strix, but he's 3-1-4. Top damage in the game right now at 47,000, or 42,000, sorry, 798 there as he continues to stack those up. Find those shots coming around the 50% point right now for Na'Vi, and right in the middle of a through time and space, Gara picks up 2.
That was not a water slide, Ninu. That was a through time and space. It's going to take him down, and Kanga resetting here now. They have, this is going to be tough, I think, for Na'Vi at this point. Now that some items are online, triple DPS scale a little bit better, they're going to be able to find the picks a little more consistently through Spunky's healing. Damage still very close between Ninu and Chronix. Mutu and Chronix. Like only 700 difference. That's less than a shot. I mean, that's just the pistol or flare difference there.
I mean, right now, though, Na'Vi, they are the breaker of chains. Look at these resiliences that are all online. 4 of them picked up. So while the sniper battle is ongoing, they are trying to win the CC battle. There's going to be an Inflame coming through. The heals being stacked up from Spunky to make sure the team can come back in. But a very odd kind of retreating Inflame more than anything. They get nothing accomplished with that, but the follow-up almost immediately after is going to be a little stronger. They're waiting on Mutu to respawn, but they're still hovering around the payload in a sort of position of power.
Yeah, I would say that. I don't hate the retreating Inflame. I think that actually has some merit where you know they want to chase you, so you back up with a damage boost, and now they can't really follow you quite as far. I mean, they're taking that massive increased amount of damage. They just can't take that same room. Didn't work out there. I think it's a little better for when you're the defending team trying to stop an aggressive push. But Kanga right now still holding onto their high ground. Chronix in a very strong position on the Oasis. Na'Vi is going to have to move in to touch this objective soon, but Lazy's taking a lot of pressure. They're going to have to make a move onto Chronix very quickly.
I mean, they've got about 10 seconds left, just a little more, as Famous is going to get walled off. Might have to use the Assert Dominance here. A beautiful wall from Joel's to keep him under control, but he's so focused over here, he's not noticing all of the damage being dumped in by the rest of Na'Vi. The payload's now moved up about 80% of the way through, rounding the last corner, and it's kills, kills, kills here for Na'Vi. They find 3. They get a nice plug onto Evil Eye, who does get the return kill onto Ninu, but that's about all he was able to find. The payload's moving forward. Joel's is the last standing grace, trying to block it. Gets a nice seismic crash, looking for the kill onto Spunky, but he's locked himself in the corner, in the wall, trying his best. And with Assert Dominance, Na'Vi are looking to stay home.
Damage reduction, though, from the Mother's Grace, going to keep him up. Great through time and space to find the kill onto Lazy right now. Mark coming on, barely keeping Joel's alive. He'll still going back and forth. Looks like 3v3, but this damage point control from the Willow was too much for Na'Vi to overcome. So Rhino coming back from the spawn, I think finally making a statement in this match. I think he's been very quiet throughout.
It's been a very unfortunate game for these tanks so far. And it does come down to, I mean, very specific moments where, I mean, even here, Joel's, well, actually not here, it was slightly after this, but same position. You're standing in that side room, and on one door, there's an Ashe. On the other door, there's a Barrack, and you are constantly peeking between both of them, trying to continue overtime and continue stalling the payload and stop Ashe from going in and flanking you. It's just not the most comfortable position here for Kanga.
Yeah, Na'Vi, resilience is all online now. That's mostly just to do with the Midnight. And getting rid of that gets rid of a lot of the aggressive pressure Kanga can have, because that's really their only answer to Mutu on a sniper. They can't really cross these sidelines otherwise. They just need to blind him before he blinds them. Oh, sorry, that's next patch.
Match. Yeah, no, the flashbang only at 43% right now, but he's still plugging in a lot of damage to be able to get that going up incredibly fast. He does get a couple of good shots off, but right now the real name of the game is the 21% that Na'Vi have been able to accrue on the point. Looking for the flank, and Ninu, kind of incredibly low, has to fall back.
Very deep flank by Evil Eye, too, getting spammed by Mutu. And that Dome Shield forward is going to close out some of the silence. Look how far behind Evil Eye is right now. But he's pulling Ninu back. That's a lot of damage out of the fight, but it didn't matter. They still have enough damage to find 2-3 on the point.
Wow, Lazy coming through with a triple for himself, and they are going even further than Evil Eye is going. They are knocking on Kanga's door just to try and get this to convert to the 4-0 or 4-1 in this case. The 81% is still going to be rising. They've dismounted Joel's. They're probably going to burn him down before he can even get close to this objective, and that's going to just be a victory. They didn't get the kill, but they got the zone.
That was the last place I expected Lazy to be when I was expecting him to be maybe like playing the bridge. I'm like,
right?
Oh, they're dying for the point. That's great. And then it cut to Lazy looking at their spawn door. Still a really aggressive play by
Lazy walking out of Kanga's base saying, yeah, you know what? I guess I had to do it
the blood off his cheek. Like, what a battle.
I mean, a clean triple kill there. Definitely doesn't look like Na'Vi have skipped a beat coming into today. And in a weird twist of events, we got to see the sniper battle on Serpent Beach, and it wasn't as sniper battle as I thought it was going to be. It was definitely just a bunch of plug damage either into the Mave or into the tanks.
Which makes sense. I mean, just looking at Serpent Beach, usually a lot of people on the high ground spamming that, but Na'Vi just knew how to play around it the best.
Well, they knew how to play around it, and they played around it so well, they got themselves a 4-1 win. They're up 2-0 in the set. We'll see if they can continue that run right after this.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League.
Welcome back, guys, to the PPL. Na'Vi now currently up 2-0 against Kanga. Serpent Beach was the map they opted to go for, but unfortunately, despite Kanga's attempts, they did end up losing. Just like I said, it did put Na'Vi in a 2-0 lead. Now that they have the aggression and the momentum, they're going to see if we can close this one out.
Yeah, it seems like a long road now for Kanga to come back into this one. I mean, again, their draft was fine. They opt for triple front line in game number 1, triple back line here in game 2, and it's fine. It has some merit, but, and it's what we were talking about in drafts. We said, I think, for the final pick, they need something a little bit more consistent, some direct damage. They have the sniper to kind of counteract Chronics. But a blaster here, I don't think it's consistent enough to deal with a Maeve or a Willow in this case. So they go Leon. They agree with me, and they go Leon. And Ninu, does about the same, if not a little bit better, in my opinion, than he did in game number 1. Some good slash lines on the rest of the team. But Ninu was the one who ended up having the flashy plays here throughout this game. And the replays indicate a guy who's playing with a lot of confidence, hitting his shots very well. That is very hard to do, the full rotation, the flick shot back. But, throughout all these replays, I don't think you can give enough credit to the way the rest of Natus Vincere are playing in this game. It's easy to highlight Ninu when he's playing the way he is, especially in his first official team member game here in the PPL. He's filled in, a couple times in the past, but the rest of Na'Vi in that game, I can't really understate how really complete of a game that was from everyone else. The healing from Spunky was spot on throughout that game. Phoenix opening the doors to so much of what Ninu was able to do. They honestly were starting to play some of that traditional style where they send Phoenix forward. Ninu feels comfortable to follow him through. He does good on the space that Phoenix buys, and it all worked out for him.
Indeed it did. We'll have to see Game 3, Jaguar Falls now. Here's what my opinion is. They could go Moji, and I'm okay with that, right? All right.
It's not going to happen.
All right, well.
Sorry, fun.
I tried. That was me putting it out there in the universe. I tried to do what I could. My best. I tried my best, guys. All right. Can you blame me?
I will agree. They could pick Moji.
They could.
This is where you see Moji. This is a map where Moji works in theory. I'm not going to dive into Moji analysis until I see her locked in. It will be interesting to see what route they go. I kind of want Kanga to just return to some normalcy here. I maybe they kind of come into this matchup realizing Na'Vi are a very tough and controlling opponent and feel like they have to throw a little bit of extra offense or maybe a little bit of extra defense at them to try to tilt the scales. Both of those have resulted in a 4-1. I maybe look for something just a little bit more consistent, a little bit more standard here, just so you can really know. At this point, all right, maybe map 1, triple frontline didn't work. Maybe map 2, triple DPS didn't quite work. So maybe returning to some normalcy here in map number 3. Right, though, and Nara banned out. That tilts things around here. She's a good pick on really any map. Yes, Jaguar Falls falls under that category of any map here in this case. Depending on what they pick, though, is where this becomes interesting. That does open up Atlas first, which is where this gets interesting, and then Makoa, of course. So that's just Na'Vi saying, we see that you've banned out the Willow. We've already banned out one of the other two kind of premier off-tanks here in this case. We want one of them. We don't want to just hand you Atlas or Makoa. So then they ban out something different to leave one open for themselves.
Yeah, I do agree with the pick here. Of course, Makoa leaving him open would just be too much of a problem for Kanga to be able to take for themselves. Atlas is locked first. Now, here's what's interesting. Bomb King not picked as often, not a very prominent pick either. In this situation, though, you do see the fact that Bomb King can control a lot of these side rooms, a lot of spacing in general. So if there was a map where you could do it on, it would most definitely be Jaguar Falls.
Yeah, and I like them going back to something more comfortable here for Evil Eye. He's had to kind of flex around the Lex in the first game, and then, something he's not as automatic on Serpent Beach either. So I think putting him on something like a Bomb King, one of, I think, the champions in that triangle of success there for Evil Eye. A better start here from them. Fernando is interesting to me here. They want to get themselves a good, consistent point tank because, with an Ashe, if you give Jules and Ash. Those are two kind of the aggressive off tanks is kind of the category they fall under. So getting somebody like a Fernando who really is a true point tank, I think makes sense here. So while Ash is still available, I think for Jaguar Falls, getting something a little bit more consistent, a little bit more healthy, a little bit more staying power, good here for Kanga. And then Alex for Chronix, provided that it is Evil Eye on the Bomb King. I think it maybe would be a mistake not for it to be Evil Eye on the Bomb King. You know, Lex I think still has some merit here. The executes around, you immediately delete the Dome Shield. The Law is available when Barrick also uses the Dome Shield, deletes the Makoa Shield. You know, I think Lex is a fine pick here for Kanga. A much better, much more standard draft with a couple tweaks, but pretty good from Kanga.
I agree. Fernando, the ultimate's going to mean a lot in these upcoming fights, especially against Barrick, Makoa, Fury, and Maeve. These 4 characters have been locked in for Na'Vi as well. But Barrick, once again, made up a good point. Dome Shield, put it right on point. No one can really step in that area unless they're willing to try and contest, or unless Barrick is low enough where they feel like they can kill him and get out, because that turret does a lot of damage. Makoa, I mean, literally, he's Makoa. Like, what else can you say about that? It's not like as if he's one of the best frontliners in this entire game or anything. It's just the fact that Makoa himself is extremely, extremely powerful. And I do like Cassie into Fernando. I like that, because they're going to try and, they might try and let Fernando, they might like play a little bit back like on the sides here, but I feel like against Fernando, if he's trying to contest point against Barrick like that, it's going to be really hard if Cassie's in the mix. Yeah,
Fernando's going to have a hell of a time in this game. I mean, the consistent bursty damage that Cassie provides will make sure to take note of the talent that they choose on the opposite side. Again, who was it who played Maeve in the last game? I think it was Mutu.
No,
Mutu was sniping.
It
was Ninu on Leon, and then I think on Bright Marsh it was Mutu on Maeve as well. So I'd imagine it would be Ninu on Cassie this time around. Honestly, I think Na'Vi have a very good draft here. I think Makoa makes Fernando pretty uncomfortable in this case. I do like what Kanga have brought, though.
I agree. Kanga currently with a 0 score. Na'Vi 2. Take it away, casters.
Well, it seems like Kanga have brought the spice to the draft, whereas Na'Vi brought the rest of the dinner, the rest of the things you need to cook the meal. I mean, it's very hard to argue against a Makoa Barrick draft and a Furia and a Maeve and a Cassie. It's just really good.
I think Na'Vi's draft is kind of just monstrous here. I also don't like the fact that I feel like Kanga kind of just put all their eggs in one basket. This seems like they have tanks that are just there to set up the King Bomb. And then if the King Bomb doesn't find what they need it to, like if it goes right into Phaynex's Leviathan, what do they do? I mean, it's basically everything on the Lex after that.
I mean, it's maybe a lot of pressure here onto Evil Eye to perform as this Bomb King. We'll have to see how he's able to do it. This is one of Bomb King's best maps, though, so if it's ever a time to make it look good, this is the time to do so. Off to the gates, it's going to be Na'Vi kind of taking control of the objective, almost immediately getting knocked back, but a beautiful hook forces a second chance, and they lose their support immediately. Gera is down.
Very aggressive start. Mutu does trade out, but no healing means that Na'Vi can just play the slow game at this point. It looks like they might not even want to, though. Both sides getting pressured, and Faye kind of just dives in and loses it for them.
I'm not sure he needed to dive in that far, but he does go in, like you said, and loses his life for it. Jules gets traded out for him, and Chronix is trying to hang out on the side. It's 18-15, not a very high scoring game so far on the percentage, as Mutu's going to get aggressive. A couple of good daggers here could seal the deal. Doesn't need it. Gets saved by Lazy. And these are those moments where a mounted Makoa is still standing happily on the objective. Ninu's still trying to find the groove of hitting these bolts, but he's in a good position. Once again, flanking, loses his life for it, but everyone on Kanga is distracted from the objective.
Yeah, and Lacey's making up for it too with this dive. Now the tanks are both going to come in, and they're both going to be coming the same exact way, so they can put all the damage they need to there, but pressure from the middle is going to force them back, so Na'Vi having to give this up again as well, but they're going to have ultimates, I think, to refight.
Also, the casual 90%. They have Inflame ready, like you said. Scout going to be up pretty soon, and Midnight not too far from being charged, still only at 75%, but you can charge it up pretty quickly as he does find these daggers. So it's going to be up to what can Evil Eye do? What can these tanks do? Atlas has been kind of quiet this game. A couple of kills here, some good shots, but with Chronix going down, that makes it a 4v5, and that means Na'Vi can move themselves in on the point as they kind of isolate, separate, and destroy Rhino.
Oh, these damage boost stacks onto the Maeve with the left clicks. I mean, we saw 640, 640, or 1280 when Mutu was inflamed before. So crazy damage boosting. It's more than the Luminary by a decent amount, stacking with that Cap Burglar. It's hard for Kanga to kind of judge how long they can survive in a fight because of that. Because you're not really doing that math in your head quick. You're thinking, I'm fighting a Mave, I have over, you know, this amount of health, I'll be fine. And then you get Cap Burgled, and you're like, oh, that was just less than I thought. It makes it so hard to do the math that it's easy to be overextended when you have a complex deck.
So when you're looking at this kind of draft, I mean, Chronix Lex hits hard. We saw that earlier.
Yeah.
Can chunk anyone that stands in front of him. The same thing can be said for Atlas, but there was a lot of pressure on Bomb King that you put on in this draft coming in. Right now you're seeing maybe a little bit of relapse from Na'Vi, although it's not very telling as we're still a minute and 45 left before the round can end. But what is it that went wrong? Like, where did they lose their control during the mid-fight, and why is it now starting to come back?
I think the Inflame retake was just it was the ultimates, I think, charging faster for Na'Vi. The Inflame retake was too much for Kanga to handle. I mean, they're aggressively zoning now, and they have their ultimates. If they wanted to use them, they'd have to use them like right now if they wanted to keep this going. But two ults coming out from Na'Vi, they're the ones who want to do this first.
I mean, they're going to be able to try and come through. Spunky, unfortunately, pops the Inflame, then immediately goes down as he gets aggressive there. And the rest of the team's going to be able to do just that. Ninu burns slowly after everything comes through. And this payload is moving forward, actually, as someone slipped by. Lazy's over here on the objective. At least going to be able to buy him some space. Didn't get it far enough to make it that big of a difference, but was at least able to slip through in the hectic fight and kind of keep things rolling for his team.
Unfortunately, he can't Dome Shield here because it got immediately deleted by the Law, but good pressure, I think. Rhino second chancing into the worst possible place in the middle of everybody. Now Na'Vi have a one-pick advantage here, make it two. Okay, I was going to say, there's no way he gets away from that. Phoenix now very forward, and they have ultimates if they want to use it to confirm this.
30 seconds left on the clock to close this one out for Na'Vi before pushing into overtime. They're coming around the last little corner of Jag Falls into the base. They're pushing and getting aggressive. Beautiful hooks already being able to cause some trouble for this Fernando. He gets healed up thanks to his own little talent, but it's definitely not a comfortable position. A lot of damage has been dumped in. Second chance is gone through time and space. Going to kill a turret, but that's all it's going to find.
Yeah, and they're not going to get anything else with that. Mutu finding Joel's on the side. No tanks alive means the cart just goes in. And this is the mistake of giving Phoenix Makoa.
And here I was thinking that fight was at least 20 seconds longer than it was. I was just like, all right, he shoots a turret, and we're going to watch Kanga inevitably flounder for about 10 more seconds and then maybe see Na'Vi push it in. But they clean up those tanks almost perfectly. And I think huge props to Lazy. He's the one who kind of made it through and distracted them.
Yeah, I mentioned Phoenix immediately after, but it is Lazy's pressure. I mean, that flank that he had pulled everybody back. He lived for a really long time in that leader fight, so he's been playing fantastic as he draws something with his mouse on his screen there. Must be with all the wiggling around he does with that, but still, he's been doing fantastic, cleaning up on some of the kills that Ninu put the damage into, getting the cap time when he needs to as well. I think he's been just putting on a clinic so far this game.
Just showcasing why he is one of the best point tanks we have in the league and, well, what he can do to make sure he remains up there on that list. I mean, even now, yeah, his movement and his aim might be a little sporadic, but he gets the damage done and he does the job. Right now, Bomb King, Evil Eye, forced back. Immortal popped just to keep him alive and rolling.
Yeah, and that means they can't use it to combo with the King Bomb. Inflame coming in means Evoli's going to be in a dangerous position, but they're not looking at him. Instead, they're looking at Joel's, and Joel's doesn't die from the pressure coming in there.
Yeah, Rhino's going to be the one that goes down. Evil Eye finally gets taken out, but you traded out Mutu in the process. Joel's one more shot is all it's going to take. Phoenix cleans up that one, and now Chronix forced to run away. Big game does still hurt, even if you are a squishy, and I think he just found that out pretty much the hard way. The damage being dealt to him, those bolts coming through, 90% rising up. Na'Vi look to have a clean zone, and they're going to grab themselves point number 3. It's been a while since Kanga's been on the board here.
Yeah, because Na'Vi's just being really dominant. Looks like, though, Kanga want to flip this really quickly, but again, like I said earlier, King Bomb, Sped Boost, and Mad immediately into a Leviathan. That's the counter they have. Their executions are so focused on that.
Ooh, I don't think I have ever seen a well-executed ult like that go that awry that fast. I mean, like you said, speed boost for the Bomb King in the King Bomb, and it ran pretty much head first, 90 miles an hour into a brick wall.
Yeah, and that's I was saying, they had the counter to it. Their executes are so reliant on that, unless they had the Immortal. But the Immortal got first earlier to save Evil Eye on the mid-fight.
So a lot of moments. Again, I think more pressure on this Bomb King to perform now more than ever, as the payload is going to be hitting right under the catwalk. Good headshot on the Lazy, going to be coming through from Chronix as well. as Rhino to keep things rolling for him. But it's 2 kills picked up for Na'Vi. They're coming around the last corner. They're looking poised to find this as a 4-0.
Yeah, Fury and Maeve so hard to deal with. Inflame plus Midnight. You can't see where they're coming from, and they're doing 30% more damage. Rhino, no cooldowns up really, only his shield, and that's about to go down. Great hook by Phoenix to turn that, and Na'Vi looking very strong, but they're backing up a little bit. They want to find their time.
I mean, the 14 streak, the 12 streak, the 11 streak, burning Bomb King, playing the angles on the side, getting some good sticks, getting some good damage, but Gara's the one to fall. Lazy traded out for him. Evil Eye immediately taken out, though, so it's going to be all in favor. 3 for 4, or 2 for 4 here in favor of Na'Vi. They're walking this payload in. One more shot, one more kill, and that's going to be a 4-0 on Jag Falls. And they just, again, it's just clean. It's clinical.
Yeah, Na'Vi, this is the Na'Vi that Na'Vi probably wanted to see against Renegades. That I think most people wanted to, but they're back now. They're looking very strong. Ninu is making himself known as deserving to be on this roster.
Yeah, and all I can think of is what you said when you look at the Midnight in tandem with the Inflame. It's the, I'm going to put a blindfold on you and then punch you really, really hard.
Don't do
and Na'Vi are doing it successfully so far. Do you think that's going to be a combo that needs to maybe be stripped away from them?
It's really important, I think, in this meta, especially early games, since it was a 4-0, so no resilience to counter the Midnight. They definitely could be looking for it still. They're a very execution-heavy team, I think, and they've still been showing that with how they've been touching point on like the first map and how quickly they ulted this game.
I mean, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Kanga literal backs against the wall. They are down 3-0. They have a lot of work to put in. We'll see if they can do it right after this.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
Welcome back to the Paladins Premier League, guys. Navi's certainly not here to play around at all. Jaguar Falls, it's in the books for them. Currently up 3-0 against Kanga. Kanga's giving it their all. They're doing the best they can, but Navi's just really overpowering them in these sets.
Yeah, I mean, this is a, honestly, in a weird way, bear with me.
Okay.
This is like a new look at a Na'Vi team, in that I'm so used to seeing, and they're still doing a little bit of this, but I'm so used to seeing them stick like lazy on the point, and then the rest of the team just kind of holds a line and plays around them. And it worked. I mean, they're the second seed in this league. I would argue they're the best team in the league right now. But they're playing suddenly more aggressively. Still controlling, but a more aggressive team than what I'm used to seeing out of Na'Vi. And it's kind of refreshing to see. I mean, when you have the pieces in play that they do right now, I mean, it allows you to change your play style a little bit. I mean, they're not in a totally reworked team, but, you know, lazy, feeling free to get a little bit more aggressive. I mean, the team is kind of drawing that line further into the enemy's base than kind of directly at the center of the map is kind of the simplest way I can put it. But it's been so much fun to watch, honestly, today. Kanga,
100%.
They got to win 4 straight here. Nobody's done it. I think they got a long, long road ahead.
Yeah, long road indeed. Phoenix, though, actually did manage to lock in the Makoa for, not necessarily, I'm not saying specifically he was the one that locked in. He's the one that was playing the Makoa. But
no, his computer pressed the lock-in button.
He took over the draft, decided, look, guys, I'm going Makoa. They left it open. What else is there to say about it? And the results are here. 6 kills. Yeah. But the threat that Makoa is always there, along with having that Ancient Rage, is going to be something that the rest of Kanga had to be on the lookout for. And it just, it did its job.
Yeah, I mean, you say don't give Phoenix Khan, you know, don't give Phoenix Ash. I mean, definitely don't give Phoenix Makoa. I mean, that's The other champions are certainly in the conversation, but Makoa is just kind of a blanket statement. Honestly, a good draft there from Na'Vi, realizing that if they banned out either Atlas or Makoa, they would have, been stuck with the other. So they ban out Inara, leave open both Atlas and Makoa, realizing Kanga will only get one. They then pick the leftover. They would have been fine, I'm assuming, with either or. I think they're happy they ended up getting Makoa. But, the pieces for Kanga just haven't quite fallen. They've really tried with this Lex today. I think Evil Eye did look better on the Bomb King that time around. Just a little short from them.
Unfortunate for them. However, this could potentially be the last map it is that we see. Frozen Guard is here. That is the map they opt to go for. And currently, if I'm Kanga in this situation, they've obviously something has to change.
Yeah.
They have to find some sort of momentum shift. They have to find something it is that they need to be able to counteract that. They can't let Na'Vi really just run around them in circles like this. They're currently up 3-0. This, like I said, this could be Na'Vi's. This could be the last map we see for this specific set.
I mean, this is hard. I mean, you have guys on Kanga who are so used to winning. I mean, I look at Gare, I look at Evil Eye. They come from winning backgrounds. So, I mean, kind of, as of late, it was sort of early to middle of last split is when Kanga really hit their stride. They kind of hit a spot and then didn't quite improve at the same rate that a lot of the other teams did. I mean, they were always the team that could come in, could find themselves an upset, and I still think they are. I don't think it happens today. You can't count Kanga out because they're made up of players that certainly can perform. But honestly, to beat Na'Vi the way they're playing today, I think you just have to somehow find a way to outdraft them, which I don't see happening. Today, I think, is a perfect example of a team that is just playing better. I mean, the drafts haven't necessarily been one way or the other, some light spots, some dark spots. But regardless of picks and bans, if another team just plays better than you, it's not really going to change much. And while that's kind of, small brain, short-sighted analysis, I really think Na'Vi are just playing better Paladins today. Ninu has had the pop-off performance. Chronix hasn't quite been able to match that. And so that's what they'll look to change. Taking Cassie and Leon away from Ninu, I think, is a smart move here. You're going to force him on to something a little bit different here. As Eevee likely going to Mutu. It seems like maybe a change in the positional tides here. Ninu absolutely can play an Eevee, so that still remains to be seen here. A little bit of extra flexibility now added to the Na'Vi side of things.
Yeah, I agree. Eevee is locked in as their decision. And in that case, Dave, I use as a counterpoint, you don't have small brain at all. They locked in Eevee. You called it. You were saying that, I feel like it's a good thing. And they do indeed go for it. On the flip side of that, Kanga opts to go for Inara, and they do run the Inara con, which is something that literally, why would you not run that? Furia as well, having the Inflame, going to be able to allow them to play a little bit more aggressive Cassie into both Shields, Ashe, and Barrack. It's going to be very, very powerful too. Now the last pick is where it gets a little bit tricky. Okay. Strix. Okay. So not the worst thing.
So this is, I mean, it's definitely now in my eyes Ninu on the Eevee. I mean, he is filling that role, is what they brought Ninu in to fill, and Mutu then would be on the Strix. I say that, I guess I don't really, know for certain, but that's where my mind goes. Kanga have a good, well-rounded draft this time around. They have, a pure aggressive off-tank and Khan. They have some good direct damage dealers to deal with the Eevee and Cassie and Leon, and Nara for some good staying power. I mean, if there's a draft that's going to win, it's this one, but so much potential there for Na'Vi.
Yeah, I agree. Well, boys and girls, this could be potentially the last game 3-0 against Na'Vi. We're going to throw it down to the casters, get right into the final set.
Well, the question of the day is going to be whether or not Kanga can put up at least one game of a fight, or if this is going to be a nice quick 4-0 for Na'Vi. Do you think they have the draft to do it, Kresnik?
They have potential, but it really relies a lot on Mutu. If he can hit those shots, if he can pop off, it's going to be hard for them to get through the pressure from that Strix. He should realistically win these long-range fights, and they don't really have an off-tank to cross the distance to get to him.
It's going to be a difficult battle overall, but they do have at least some solid control. We saw Eevee not be quite successful here, and again, Frozen Guard is the one map Fish gave her as maybe to avoid her a little bit, kind of. It was very non-committal to it, but it's going to be a good debut. Also getting Ninu onto something I presume he's going to be pretty comfortable on. Nothing out of the ordinary standing out so far in the talents. It still just comes down to this Cassie Leon versus Strix.
Yeah, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be just as hard for Ninu to get in, like you mentioned. I mean, we saw it against Leon earlier. He's going to have to play very safe, but it will come down to the backline battle. Bully on the right side here, and Phoenix is going to have to make a lot of room, I think, if they want their DPSs to pop off, but he's taking it slow to start it off.
What I like is moving up with the Siege Shield is not only him, but also Mutu right behind him, maybe trying to encompass anyone from Kanga that decides to continue moving forward. Eevee going to be going into the backline. First blood there for Ninu as he gets rid of Chronix, and that's going to be a good start for them. 21% already on board for Na'Vi, and now Ninu's going to be free reign, free roam going up against Joel's as Strix looking to plug in the rest of his damage into Rhino.
Love the start of this from Na'Vi. I mean, they just pulled all the attention away from Ninu so he could get onto the backline. Chronix was kind of looking for him, but you can't afford to always look that way. Great flank by Ninu, but unfortunate timing out of the ice block takes him down. Traded quickly back by Na'Vi, though.
Being able to find that kill, at least is going to be able to create some things, I would say, more casually open for Kanga, but unfortunately for them, they're still going to have to put in a lot of work. They do get rid of Phoenix, and they're having some of these damage returns. That was a good headshot from Mutu, but unfortunately unable to find the kill onto Evil Eye, trading out back and forth. You can see a smatterings of ones, a couple of twos there on both teams, but the damage is heavy here.
Spunky has higher damage than Evil Eye. He's doing more damage than the Cassie right now. That might change quickly, though, with Evil Eye's strong positioning. Ninu trapped, caught out again. Can they save him? Great shield does, but Inflame could make Kanga have control of this fight.
That's going to be what they pop right now. It's going to give them enough damage to get rid of Phoenix. They're going to be at 99%, and it's hard to stand in this point, but there's going to be a flash out coming down. The question is, can they close out the kill? Joel's is still alive. Evil Eye cleans up 3 on his own and makes sure that you will never be able to see the support above his damage numbers again.
I was about to say, really quiet in this fight, Spunky's doing, oh, but nope, Evil Eye just wanted to remind me that he is still here, and why backlines are so good on Frozen, you can't ignore them, it's so hard to get away from them. Good wall by Joel's. I mean, this should be traded out, but the shield might keep him alive from that Ice Storm on the other side. Look, Na'Vi want to confirm this kill, and Assert Dominance. Phoenix staying alive here. They could flip this right away.
Yeah, Ninu going to be coming in looking for the flank, or at least the assist as he comes in. Ice Block going to keep him alive. Enlightenment going to come out, and he gets the kill. Or at least Ninu does. Chronix not able to find anything. A full wipe there from Kanga as they get pushed back. That is going to be clean coming in from Na'Vi. And this is a very awkward and weird moment for this to flash back into my mind. But I just have a Frozen Guard Kanga game against Eevee that came back into memory. Against Envy, this is the one they got backdoored on.
That could happen again. Na'Vi, I mean, they already all kind of did it earlier with Lazy, right? So it's clearly in their heads. Great movement from Ninu. They're going to get this kill onto Joel's, almost certainly. And yeah, that was kind of a really quick fight. We were just made one comment about a backdoor, and then it was immediately over.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can try anything like that. Right now, though, Na'Vi are not the ones looking to try and find any sort of backdoor. They have pushed up. If you were watching this, you'd assume it was the beginning of their own offensive push. They must have just grabbed the objective, right? No, it's been a minute and a half. Kanga are looking to try and find their defense. They are just trying to push back to the mid-fight at this point.
This is a great place to hold, too, because, I mean, you think about it when you're defending this point, you don't even want to go through this, right? You don't even want to go through that door. So that's why they're holding right here. Oh, they're not ready for Muti's flank right now. Okay, he got healed up, so Muti might not get the triple here, but look at this wrap from Na'Vi. Look at this coordination. They're just delaying this, too, at this point. They don't want to get the kills right away because they want to buy more time.
Getting rid of Lazy definitely gave them an avenue to escape, though. You kill off Spunky, and one of those doors suddenly opens. Phoenix going to get staggered out here, but whew, look at that payload literally at its spawn, just now starting to move. 20 seconds left, and so most of this is going to have to make it an overtime if they hope to do so. And based on the way these fights have been going, it's definitely going to feel pretty awkward for Kanga.
I wouldn't be surprised to let Na'Vi even let it go to the choke, but maybe not with their composition. They might want to. No, never mind. No, they're going to let it go to the choke now. Thank you, Lazy, for making sure that I know what is going to happen next. Ninu 2 getting picked off quickly, but
hello?
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. That is unfortunate.
So no one remembered that to push and escort the payload in overtime, you do actually have to be on the payload in order to continue it going. A very good, I want to say, recapturing of the ground from Kanga, seeded into the most, what's the opposite of exciting?
Anticlimactic.
Dull, anticlimactic, boring defense that I have ever seen, I think, in a competitive game. But hey, it's 1-1, and I'll give them credit. It's also possible something happened to knock them away, maybe to keep them under control. Phoenix being able to knock some skulls around could have had at least some hand to do with it.
Interesting nimble buys. 3 people buying nimble on Kanga, so they know they're going to get dismounted, but they
so
also
they can
know
run back to the payload faster
yeah,
when they forget about
exactly.
it.
That makes a lot of sense. They also need to get onto Mutu on Sniper. They need to be able to cross that distance, and they want to really quickly, but Mutu got into cover. Never mind. Double backline surrounding takes him down.
Good seismic crash being able to set that up. Inflame already pops, and that's going to be kill, kill, kill. 3 down on the side of Na'Vi. A 4th one flies onto Phoenix, and Lazy is able to find a return, but his life is sparing at this moment. His shield keeps him going for a little bit of good stagger, puts him 11 seconds behind the crew, and keeps them staggered out. 45 to now 36 here for Kanga as they're trying to match it. It's going to be a little bit more control, but the biggest thing, Kanga use a majority of their ults to get that overpower still online, Enlightenment still online. Na'Vi still have 4 out of 5.
And fortunately for Kanga, they are standing on the objective, something you should be doing. Ice Storm coming in by Ninu on the right to catch Rhino, but the first kill going against Ninu, so Na'Vi are just going to have to throw themselves on the point now, and Dome Shield's not on it. Nobody gets a chance to touch.
Unfortunately for them, because they are winning this fight. It's a 2-for-1 trade, but the health bars definitely look a little bit more in favor of Na'Vi. Mutu goes down. There's going to be a good Void Grip, and Kanga actually bring that one back from the grips. They not only grab the point, this time they start off the push a little bit more solidly than the last round. 10 streak, 8 streak, 14 streak, burning for the Furia, the Inara, and the Leon. And if they can stay aggressive and stay on the payload this time, they do have a good chance of converting this.
And this is a really strong defensive hold around this point. It's kind of like you're storming the beaches. I mean, they have this crazy high ground spamming down. Nina going down early is going to be helpful, but the most important person, the Strix, is still alive. That backline pressure is going to be almost uncontestable unless he kind of walks into a double Cassie-Leon spam game.
Well, right now it seems to be a double Cassie-Leon spam game because the shots are flying through. There goes Lazy, there goes Spunky. Everyone's just lining it up on a silver platter here. Kanga know what they're doing here on Frozen Guard. With a minute and a half left, they're coming under the archway of the base of Na'Vi. You can see Phoenix trying to get aggressive, trying to figure out how to stop this. They're going to be able to stall it for just a few seconds.
Good prioritization by Na'Vi here, too. Ninu knows that he has to stop them from getting to the high ground so Mutu can stay a little safer. He's pinned in the corner back there, though. But Na'Vi, priorities were right. Even trades back and forth so far. 1-for-1
as it comes down. A couple of good shots could potentially change the deal. Chronix is up on the high ground in the little safety of the corner, but it's not going to be safe enough. He's going to get burned down. Phoenix with a double kill solidifies this hold for a little bit. Joel's kind of in the awkward spot, going to end up staggering as it comes through. He's looking to jump off the map. The shot's going to connect from Ninu, 5 seconds behind his team. And, well, with the way Na'Vi's kind of swarming around the objective, no chance for a backdoor right now. 43 seconds to hold. And they're looking to try and find this defense.
Smart by Mutu, too, to not dismount here. He could just sit here as long as he wants, just use that 3-peek from the mount to see what's going on over there. I like the defense. Again, they stopped Chronix from taking high. It slowed him down, so Mutu was able to get a little bit more done. He did die, but they found the trades in the meantime. Mutu, quick peek. The 3-peek advantage there, knew where he was going to be. And now, actually, Kanga's going for their take. They're sending their Gnar straight to the high ground.
I mean, they're going to be able to get at least a little bit of about 2 feet off of that little distraction. Everyone bouncing in and out of the door just to keep him alive right now. Health bar's low. Evil Eye going to get burned down. Potentially right there. Gera and Chronix off the board already, trying to figure out what they can do. Phoenix trades his life out. They're trying to hold on to it. And Kanga have lost just enough members, but not the tanks just yet. They're still alive, still holding on to overtime, but it doesn't look like it's going to last long for them. Joel's and Rhino both get burned down, and it should go 2-2 as Na'Vi find themselves another little defense.
And smart little thing at the end there by Mutu. Gonna jump off the map. It is only a 4 streak, but it's just maximizing, right? You min-max the amount of ult the enemy team gets when they kill you if you jump off the map. If you don't care about your KD, that really is the smart thing to do. Thankfully, it is only kills that count towards it, so if you're a support, it's on like a 50 streak or something.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's not going to give them a free ultimate. 5 ults online, though, for both teams across the board. Lazy, Phoenix, Ninu, pretty high deaths. Actually, everyone except Spunky are pretty high deaths, I think, for Na'Vi, but pretty even there for Kanga. They're all dying kind of in the same fights. A lot of 6s. That means they're together, right? They're dying at the same time. They're doing the same thing. And I want to see Kanga kind of take the fight similarly this time. I want them to execute with a CC ultimate, find Mutu, because I think he really is the crux of Navi's fight on the mid.
What I like so far, and it's yet to be seen where Mutu goes, but he's playing maybe a little more aggressive, playing a little farther forward than he has the last couple of rounds. We'll have to look to see where that seismic crash goes, where Ninu decides to go, if he can maybe keep some of these guys under wraps. Unfortunately, it's not going to work. Mutu goes down, so the first blood of this round is going in favor of Kanga, and that means it's a 4v5, and they are going to need some turnaround.
Lazy doming on the point too to buy a lot of time in the back. Still no cap time going. Chronix going down is going to make it very hard for Kanga, but Evoli's damage is still there. That's the benefit of having 2 backlines.
Yeah, you lose Ninu,
getting that damage.
you lose Lazy, and while you stall out as much as you can on the objective, it wasn't enough. 39% though for Kanga, and they seem to have the point fight down now. I mean, again, they used 3 ults this time to win the fight. They have the Overpower, they have the Enlightenment. And with the flashbang, we're going to have to see if Mutu can get back into this. Eevee's dancing around. Overpower not going to get the kill. Instead, Phoenix jumps right back on. He's looking to eliminate Chronix, and he's going to be able to find that kill, saves his team, and keeps this Khan on his toes as they fight back from the grips of death to stay alive on this point.
Rhino didn't realize that resilience also affects the arc of the throw, too. Didn't aim him high enough, so he hit the ground and was able to ultimate back.
I mean, a couple of good shots. It's going to be perfect for them. Rhino in an uncomfortable position, but going to be able to stay alive for a little bit longer. Goes for the dash, doesn't find it. Mutu in the 1v1, the shield is up. It's getting burned down. All he needs is a couple of shots. Phoenix saved by the bell right there. Double kill for the Ashe one more time. Looking to make it 3. It's going to be taken by Lazy, but that 93% for Kanga means nothing. Na'Vi take it back.
The staggered pace of that fight was even better for Na'Vi too, because they were getting the cap time there. I mean, I love the call by Lazy to dome there earlier in the fight. I think the fact that they didn't get cap time, even when Kanga was dominantly winning that fight, was what let Na'Vi retake. It bought them the time they needed.
I mean, how many fights have we seen that are lost because a team went and they got 50%, 60% on the point before you could displace them? It's like, cool, we have time for another point fight if we do this. So stalling them out worked perfectly. Ninu kind of locked in an ice block right now, but with Jera going down, there's no healing here for Kanga, and this push has started off pretty comfortably. About 50% of the way through, shots just off the mark from Mutu, but it doesn't matter. He's got the rest of the team to keep them going. It ends up being a pretty sloppy trade, but it's 5 for 2 as Na'Vi keep members sitting here. I guess 4 for 2 since Rhino's still dancing around the objective. Just trying to keep this payload going, and so far successfully so.
Yeah, but still, that wouldn't have ended up well for Kanga had Rhino not been in front of 2 tanks that didn't have Wrecker. I mean, they just couldn't kill him at the end there. They even bought some more time. Normally, you don't take a fight there, I feel. I mean, the Inflame, it almost got wasted right away because of that strong positioning, but I think good play by Rhino finding the kills they needed. Good focus fire, which hasn't been there really earlier in the game for Kanga, kind of showing up, but they're going to need more than that if they want to take this whole map.
I'm having some very scary flashbacks, so my eyes are drawn to the middle top of your screen where that payload is. Pretty much at all times, whenever Kanga gets aggressive, watch the arrow to see what direction the payload is moving. Right now it's moving forward as Na'Vi encircle it, but we're going to have to see if Kanga can find a pretty convincing defense. This Eevee is going to make things interesting for them if Ninu can pull off a random noob style play, but as of right now, they're looking for the typical Na'Vi style of play of just kill him dead.
Chronix is actually playing really smart right now with how far back he is. Normally, you would put your DPS about where Rhino is, a little bit to the right behind that log wall, but because there is an Eevee, that's a completely safe blink position, so Chronix has to put himself further back specifically to do that, to stop Ninu from getting value from those safe blinks. Mutu getting pressured out by a bunch of hits again. He needs to get healed really quickly. The stealth, I mean, if you're not moving, it's not going to help you very much, but Card's getting closer. Na'Vi might have to expend some ultimates if they want to win this set right now.
I mean, if they want to, they can. Kanga has all 5, and they're in the precarious position to prove that they can hold on to him. Otherwise, you're going to a 3-3. That's going to be a through time in space, and it's going to connect Evil Eye off the board, making this a 4v5. Rhino half health right now. Can they find the kill? As of yet, no. Joel's locked around at half health as well, and the angles are being flanked on, but that's a good shot onto Chronix. Gets rid of him, but you lose Phoenix and Mutu in response. The kills are starting to come up in favor of Na'Vi, but I think they got what they wanted out of this one so far. It's still in overtime. They're still fighting for it, but with Lazy going down, that might just end it. Ninu's going to try to keep it going, keep it rolling, and he's the perfect champion to do it.
Yeah, the spawn advantage, though, it's going to be way too much to overcome. Ninu, if anything, just buying his team more time to charge some ultimates. And looking at this last mid-fight, they're missing a few of the heavy execution ultimates, but Scout and Enlightenment up for Kanga. Nothing up for Na'Vi. That's not a good look, especially with how influential Scout has been in finding kills onto the Strix.
Definitely sets them up early on, but they don't have the same setup, I think, that they've been giving them. As you see a triple kill from Lazy. And the man does it
you can see
many
it.
times as you can give him.
I can't see it at all. He's flailing everywhere. So, have you ever played Trauma Center, Gora? That
Yes.
game on the DS. I feel like he's trying to do the magic touch star thing sometimes.
Okay.
When he's trying to draw that star to slow down time to hit these shots.
Well, he's not slowing down time. He's just really, really good at aiming. Even
That's
though
true.
sometimes you would guess it from how sporadic the mouse moves. It's still solid from Lazy, but like you said, only 2 ults available. No CC was what the point I was going to make, though. No seismic crash available this time. So we'll have to see what happens. This is almost as close to the beginning point fight as you can get.
Yeah, I mean, Enlightenment Scout, though. Scout coming up quick means they have no way out. Ninu finding Chronix. Enlightenment not able to save him. And now Ninu is going to be basically free in this backline.
Good shots on Jarrett, going to be able to keep him under wraps. Does get stunned above, but it's not going to be able to save the support for long. Instead, Phoenix collapses in, kills him off. And unfortunately, without the ability to get rid of Mutu for an easy kill early on, it seems to be going the Kanga getting knocked down systematically one by one. Na'Vi on the point, and even though it's 3-3, they're the ones in control. They're in the driver's seat, and they're going to try to close this out and win the set.
Zoning is so important on this map, though, because the lanes are so far apart that you need to have them all covered. Only DPS is on the right, though, and Mutu knows that. So Na'Vi can play this smart. Actually, Rhino, I think he's a little bit too distracted onto Phoenix. I don't know if he even can get in now with how long he spent.
I mean, they've got 90% Inflame popped as well to get them in, and aggressive but beautiful shots on Necronix put him low almost immediately. He's going to go down. Jared's going to go down. Evil Eye's going to go down, and they trade out Spunky. They trade out Ninu. In the meantime, it's going to be Joel's versus the world. Lazy, the point tank battle's coming through, but this Anara just can't hold on for long. That 99% is going to tick over to 100. Na'Vi are going to tick their win counter up to 4, take this set, and even though Kanga fought well on that last map, unfortunately, they're going to leave this one without a win.
It's looking like a great Na'Vi. I think the pressure from Phoenix there was so good. He distracted Rhino because Rhino took so long to move in. Both DPSs panicked and went to touch the point. Both DPSs went down. That's the only thing that was really keeping Kanga in on that map. They're so important, those backlines.
And that's, I mean, it goes to show the first 2, or I guess the previous 2 rounds from the last one, rounds 2 and 3, kind of showcased how important that seismic crash was to get the stun to kill off Mutu, but when he's not only permitted to be free during the first half, like you said, the second half, he just zoned him out, and you didn't need a dome shield, you didn't need anything else, you just needed Mutu to stay alive for more than 10 seconds.
And Kanga, I mean, I think they had their number for the mids, but again, you said it, once the CC was out, they just can't get Mutu down. Even when they can see him, they just can't cross that distance. That's why they were buying Nimble. They needed to get in there somehow.
Yeah. Well, I will say, I think the biggest question of today coming into it was how is Ninu going to perform? Because I think if you look at this matchup prior to that, you think, man, this is going to be a Na'Vi matchup all day. The question was how long it would be, but everyone kind of favored them. And I would say for a debut set as a leading member now, a primary member on a team instead of a sub, this was about as good as it gets for Ninu.
Yeah, I mean, this was old VP Ninu, right? I mean, he was really impressive then, and now that it's a LAN season, his first time being here consistently, he's only going to grow as a player from this point on.
Yeah, and being able to play through, again, subbing throughout this year, being able to play with NIP a little bit earlier. He's been on LAN throughout this. I mean, at MSI with Sour Team. Yeah. So the experience was there, and as we've seen, he has exactly what he needs to be able to make things work. His EV was phenomenal during that last game, and it helped Na'Vi find their 4-0 win. So let's go ahead and jump back up to the desk to recap the set and recap the day.
Thank you guys from the Casters booth. Really, really appreciate that. Na'Vi taking it 4-0. Unfortunate for Kanga, but on the flip side, fortunate for Na'Vi because not only did they come out with a win, they came out with a positive showing, not only with Ninu, but everyone played extremely well on that team.
Yeah, I mean, the consolation prize for Kanga is getting to play an angry NIP tomorrow, so I don't know if there's much consolation to be had there. A fun one to watch, though, on Frozen Guard, much closer than the other maps. You got a couple 4-1s, a 4-0. So Kanga putting up a fight here, and that's kind of what I was hinting at. I mean, if there was a game Kanga were going to win, I think that this draft gave them the best advantage. Evil Eye, some great moments on the Cassie. Chronix, 14 kills for both Evil Eye and Chronix, just so many deaths. I mean, double-digit deaths. I mean, kind of for everyone in this game. I mean, it was a slugfest back and forth. Slash lines, honestly, for both sides. I would say pretty similar, but the frontliners of Na'Vi is kind of where my eyes go in this game. I see Phoenix at 11, 9, and 22. Lazy at 11, 13, and 15 as well. So much of what Mutu was able to do in this game was on the back of Lazy and Phoenix opening up space.
Yeah, I mean, you see it here in the replay as well. 1 snipe, 2 snipe, 3 snipe. Never mind. They actually do manage to miss that snipe. However, the thing is that they do actually manage to get 2 kills. He does get the bonus for the elimination as well that Mutu was able to actually do, but made a very good point. A lot of what he was able to set up, especially during this fight, because of where the spectator was, I wasn't as actually able to see the entire picture of things, but that spot right there at the bottom of that hill where the payload ends up coming out, that's where he needed to be. He was there, right place, right time, and it definitely paid off.
I mean, so much of what Strix does on this map specifically is like conditional damage. It's not guaranteed like a Victor who sits back and, I mean, I say guaranteed. I mean, it's somewhat hard to miss shots consistently on a Victor, but with Strix, I mean, so much of that kit is you shoot, you swap to your pistol, and then you do as much damage as you can. If you're missing shots consistently on the sniper, so much of that damage misses out on the backloaded bonus damage from the pistol. So being able to consistently, you know, the op and swap is kind of the way you look at it. You hit the shot, you swip to your pistol, do some backloaded damage there. So I mean, it's not guaranteed, and Kresnik kind of led into the last game by saying that. It's like they have an interesting composition that hinges on that Strix being able to hit its mark, that Eevee being able to make the Leon and the Cassie uncomfortable. And they did that. There were moments from Kanga that they kind of shifted things over onto Na'Vi. But across the board, you know, Mutu, the frontliners, everyone today from Na'Vi playing the role they needed to.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you see everyone did extremely well. Without saying his name, because we've said it enough today, I feel like, without saying the word.
He deserves it.
I mean, true. Yeah, Ninu did do really, really well. But, of course, you have to look at Phoenix. You have to look at a lot of other individuals on Natus Vincere's side that were doing extremely well, Lazy being one of them. Just so many different people, so many different players, but they all came together. They all worked together. And very good on Ninu, too. I'll give him another compliment in this case, other than how phenomenal he did throughout the game. I'll give him the compliment of, for somebody that has been scrimming with Na'Vi for just a little bit, he did extremely well with being able to get ready for this official PPL match.
Yeah, it's big for him. I mean, talk about the best possible start to kind of your PPL career as an official member of the team. This is it, 4-0.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to throw it right to a quick interview with both Phoenix and Ninu.
All right, well, Ninu, you're going to be the one who gets to start us off today because you are the new addition coming in for Na'Vi, and you've got LAN experience, you've got prior PPL experience, but how does it feel playing today with these guys?
It feels amazing to be back to the PPL. I'm still really pressured because, like, kind of rusty a little bit, but playing with those guys, with world champions, it feels amazing.
I wanted to ask about your, like, draft priority. It seems to have changed from previous weeks until now. I mean, you guys did a lot of triple DPS in the early weeks. Did you shy away from that because you think it's a little bit worse in this meta, or because you want to do something standard to get used to playing with Ninu?
It's kind of like a rebuilding thing more than anything else. It's starting from the fundamentals, starting from the start again, getting Ninu accustomed to our team first before we start bringing out different variables again in triple DPS, triple tank, stuff like that. First get him used to us, and you know, we have 2 years of synergy to build up. We got some time.
Well, you've got a little bit to go, but obviously the target at the end of the split is still going to be Worlds, still trying to kind of return championship for some of you guys. And, you know, like you said, these guys are World champs, so did slotting in feel very comfortable? Like, is comms very good? Is it more of what you're used to, or is, like, playing with Sour Team prior to this and playing in the minor league, is it a completely different realm to jump into?
It's a little different. Of course, it's better, but I don't think it's like a big difference playing from Sour Team to this.
So I guess to get more specific about the set, when we got into Frozen Guard, things got a little more shaky overall. I mean, it was a nice clean 4-0 on Jag Falls. What was going wrong, and how did you kind of turn that around to make sure you could fix it and still win the set?
I kind of like gave everyone the worst positions. Like, I made it harder for us than necessary. I didn't create as much space as I did on the previous maps. I was too hesitant to go in because of the positions. So as soon as I realized what was going wrong, I changed the positions a little bit so we had better angles, and that worked. But yeah, we gave them too many credits with giving 2-point caps. It made it hard for us.
Well, it did, like you said, work in the end. You found yourselves a 4-0. A nice little debut for Ninu on the team as well. So congratulations on your win, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for the interview, Gore, Kresnik, Phoenix, Ninu, not only for some awesome games, but some very awesome commentary by some very awesome people.
Wow, they can't even hear you, and you're gassing them up anyway. It was a great set, though, honestly. Great couple sets today. I mean, if I look at the first set between Virtus Pro and NIP, I imagined very close or lopsided, maybe you would argue for NIP. I kind of thought Virtus Pro would win this one, but 4-1 was not the fashion that I expected. Natus Vincere definitely gave them the edge over Kanga. But again, I thought it would be a little closer. I looked at tomorrow, honestly, and that Virtus Pro Natus Vincere matchup suddenly just became so much more important. I mean, Na'Vi are playing like the best team in this league. I mean, Virtus Pro, despite being kind of in the middle of the standings, are playing like they're really up there. That top 5 is cluttered. We obviously haven't gotten to see Space Station yet in this split. I mean, Envy, the last we saw of them, they were performing very well. I mean, that 1 through 5,
right?
I don't really know what to make of it. I really think any of them can kind of take games off of one another. I think the Knights are improving heavily as well. Kanga, though, a tough day tomorrow to then immediately go in to an NIP team that lost today. So honestly, standings-wise, I don't know. I mean, there are teams that have consistently won in the past, and that's why the standings are the way they are. But if you put all of those teams up against one another any given week, couldn't tell you who's going to win.
I mean, yeah, literally. It's like after today, you see that everything is just all in turmoil right now in the top 5. However, that is all that we have for you guys today. That was the set of today, PPL. We have 1 p.m. tomorrow. You guys can expect to see some more quality gameplay, some more amazing stuff. Thank you all so much for watching. Love you all. See you guys later.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.